This week on football, we're paying you to listen. Cucurella gets a taste of his own paella. Bellingham urges Mbappe and co to be more clinical. Fabian Schär needs to Chile out because Diaz is from Chile. Referee Sam Barrett denies Palace a crystal clear goal.
He blew too early, he said he made a mistake. It's something that maybe could have changed the game, but we have to deal with it.
And Xerxes sets the Stretford end alight. Hello everyone, welcome to This Week on Football. It is me, Alex. If you're listening on Spotify, we really appreciate it. If you want to come over to YouTube and see my face, then do so and subscribe. If you're already here on YouTube, then we do appreciate a like. It's really cool when you do that. We have got a new page. I've started a new page last month on TikTok. If you've not already subscribed or following me over there, it's at Alex Goalposts. I had to restart like 4 times over the last 6 months because I kept getting banned, but I'm back and hopefully no more bans. So follow me on there. I'd really appreciate that. Goalpost TV is our network and we are over on Instagram as well. Right, that is that out of the way. Everyone who is listening, you may have heard me refer in the last couple of weeks to Day One Fantasy Football.
One day or Day One.
That is coming up. We are finally doing a reveal of my team and I'm going to be talking about your team as well. Since the Premier League season is back, I'll be doing Team of the Week, but Team of the Week does encompass all the other leagues as well. So I will be talking about potentially your team. I don't know if anyone noticed, but Sky now are showing almost every game for every team throughout the season. I thought that went so under the radar for me. I don't watch TV very much, but I obviously watch a lot of football. And I was watching Sky Sports this weekend and I saw an advert, because I'm in Bristol, for Bristol Rovers. You can watch 20 games, over 20 games this season. And that goes for every single team in the AFL, which I think is incredible, which is magic. And for those people who can't get to games, it is amazing. You know, a lot of teams, they do require your support. There is a little bit of kind of back and forth on this. Is it going to stop match goers going when they can just sit at home and watch Mansfield play or Tranmere play? But I do think it is an overall net positive. It does mean that it opens it up to worldwide viewers potentially as well. You could be watching a game of Chesterfields and you could be somewhere around the world. And it does open up the support of the fan base to the worldwide stage. I do think has a lot of potential. I think Sky is... I think you can watch a lot of those channels abroad as well. I'd hope so. But I think that has got loads of potential if that is the case. Because you look at what Wrexham did, massive what they've done over in America. I think they're like the second or third highest supported team in America. And I think they're number one in quite a few states as well. Obviously, that's to do with their owners. But I think a lot of people will be encouraged and start thinking, well, I want my own team, not Wrexham. I'm going to go for this team. So I don't know. I think it's overall a good thing. But I was watching that all this weekend. I don't know how you guys have had this first weekend of Premier League football, whether you've been out at the football or not. I was at Bristol City versus Millwall of all games this week. My friend's a Bristol City fan, and I tend to go whenever he comes back. He lives in Portugal. So I watched that game, and there were 7 goals. And I honestly thought, when I was going to that game, I thought I was going to see a 0-0 or a 1-0. There were 7 goals. I missed 4 of them. And I actually have no idea how. I'm really struggling this weekend and actually following into now when I'm recording, because I do not drink well. And when I've had a little bit, it kills me for the next couple of days. I was kind of behind the goal towards the right-hand side. And before kickoff, we had a couple of pints. There was 4 of us, 4 of us, 5 of us, 6 of us in the end, all having pints. The 2 Bristol City fans went in and started watching the game. We thought we'd finish our pint. There was a goal to start with that we missed. And then I think a second goal. The same happened at halftime. We were still drinking. We said, we'll finish our drinks. We come in and it was 2-2 out of nowhere. And then there was a last minute goal, which was amazing, actually. The atmosphere at Bristol City is really good. It's a fantastic stadium, Ashton Gate. So if you've not been, it is a great laugh. I've also been to the other side of Bristol, to the Memorial Ground. It's such different, but again, it's proper football clubs. And it's one of those things where, because as a Man United fan, I work a lot of weekends, I really struggle to get to a lot of games. I try to get as many as I can in, but if you've got a couple of local grounds, it's worth paying the ticket and going to support them. I've lived everywhere, by the way. I'm not from Bristol. But yes, so that was my weekend. It was a pretty crazy weekend. And for me, I say a crazy weekend. A crazy weekend is me having 2 or 3 pints. This weekend, it was much more than that, so I'm really struggling today. But what a weekend of football. I spent the whole of Sunday just sat in bed watching, I think I watched 4 or 5 games that day. I watched Palace, Brentford, I watched Sunderland, I watched the City game, I watched Real Madrid in the evening, I watched Roma in the evening. Some fantastic games of football, and it's so good to be back. So I am absolutely buzzing. I'm going to go into Team of the Week to kind of give you my breakdown of who I think's done really well. For the regular listeners, the way this works, my Team of the Week, they're only players that I have seen live. So I've been to the game or I've watched the 90 minutes on TV. It's no one who I think, maybe they had a good game because I've watched Match of the Day. I know Garth Crooks used to do it a lot. Sad thing about Garth Crooks, by the way, he is no longer doing BBC's Team of the Week, and it's going to be taken over by, is it Troy Deeney? But I'm gutted about that. Garth Crooks, honestly, one of the craziest things you could look forward to from the weekend was what Garth Crooks's point was for putting Joachim Andersen at left wing or for putting Trent Alexander-Arnold in goal. He would put the weirdest players in weird positions purely off the basis of someone said, oh, by the way, Garth, I think Tim Ream had a good game last week. Oh, Tim Ream, yeah, I think he's a striker. Bang. But that's what Garth Crooks did. So I'm gutted to see that go. But mine, hopefully, is a little bit more straightforward and sensible. Right, let's start off. My Team of the Week, in goal, Mark Flecken. For anyone watched that Brentford game, the Palace game, it was a really crazy game in terms of what happened with the referee indecision. Sam Barrett, I alluded to earlier, ruling out a goal that was a legitimate goal. Eze scored this beautiful free kick and the referee blew too early. Look, it's his debut in the Premier League. I understand that, and there is some experience that's lacking, and maybe a more experienced referee might not have blown so early. But it's not his first game refereeing. He's refereed football many a time and got obviously a good reputation to get into the Premier League. He's made a mistake. Everyone makes mistakes. But it's such an annoying mistake to make, blowing too early. Let the game breathe. Obviously every top referee will say that. I just cannot believe he's not felt that in that moment to go, okay, I think there's a foul. Maybe I won't blow. But it was a magnificent free kick and it actually caught Flecken off guard. But Flecken in general, I thought was brilliant all game. He did make one incredible save from Eze running through. It was a deflected and he tipped it over the bar. It was the best save I've seen this weekend. And for me, had to go in there. Only goal he did concede was an own goal, so it was a bit unlucky. At right back, I've gone for Noussair Mazraoui. He is the Manchester United right back and he was making his debut on Friday night. He was brilliant. One thing that I will say about Mazraoui before he came to the club, a few people asked me about him. I had seen him at Bayern a few times. I do really rate him on the ball. He's super composed. He's really tricky as well, so he can get himself out of tight spots. But the one thing that I would have been saying that has surprised me or impressed me the most, I thought he was really good defensively, positionally. He was very good. And that Man United team very rarely is positionally bang on. And whether that's a coaching issue or whether that's an individual issue, I don't know. That's up for debate. But Mazraoui, I thought, had a really solid debut, clean sheet under his belt. And at right back, which obviously Dalot is pretty much nailed that position on, and now Dallow's moved out to left back. Wonder what it's going to be like if Luke Shaw comes back in. But Mazraoui, top signing. Really, really like that signing from Man United. And I thought he had a really good debut, so I thought he was good. At centre-back, I've gone for Luke 09. Sunderland fans, You will really appreciate this pick. Luke 09, I think, has probably one of the performances of the weekend. He scored in the opener for Sunderland, and now he scored again. He got a goal and assist from centre-half. Now, my opinion of Luke 09, and this is for someone who doesn't watch loads of Sunderland games, I always thought he was like a midfielder. And I know he moved into centre-back. I've seen him there maybe 2-3 seasons, but I always thought he was like a scrappy midfielder. Because he's not that tall, he's not that big, but he is tenacious. And clean sheet this weekend, tops it off with a goal again and an assist. Yeah, I really like Luke 09, and more than anything, I probably just like his attitude. He is savvy. I don't know if anyone's watched the Sunderland Till I Die documentary. I know I've spoken on this channel before about it, but he was always come across really, really well, and the Sunderland fans love him. I thought he was brilliant this weekend, so yeah, had to go in there. Alongside him, another Man United player in defence. I don't know how this has happened, Lisandro Martinez. It is massive for Manchester United that Lisandro Martinez is back and playing and fit. One of the things that was really tough for him was in the Community Shield, he played left back, and that was quite difficult for him. He's obviously a left centre-half, but he's versatile and he's brilliant on the ball, so you can understand why he would have filled in at left back. But left centre-half against Adama Traore a couple of times, he did end up getting the better of him after making the mistake. And what I love about Lisandro Martinez, he come out after the game in his interview, he said, Adama killed me the first time, but then I sent him to the gym. It's cocky, it's arrogant, and every other rival team will hate that. But United fans will love it. We absolutely love him. He is one of those guys. He's a leader, and he's just brilliant on the ball. I think that this is something that Martinez will probably not be remembered for when his career's done, because he is such a personality. But his ability on the ball, you can pass him the ball anywhere, and he very rarely loses it. And he's obviously always under pressure, super press resistant. Absolutely love Lisandro Martinez, and it's massive for United to get him back in that side. Left back, I've gone for Tommaso Aguilo, and he was one of the players that probably I'd imagine in this team that you're not going to recognise. He's a Cagliari player. I watched the Cagliari versus Roma game, and what impressed me about Aguilo is he was up against Matthias Süle, and in the end, there's a Baldanzi, is it? He's the young Roma player who's just come through. Two really, really tricky players, and Dybala later on in the game as well. He put Matthias Süle in his place very early on, and it was really difficult, actually, Süle. And people might not know who Süle is. He's this young kid signed from Frosinone, but he was a Juventus player. He's now come to Roma. He is the next big thing. I'm telling you now, he's unbelievable. But I really thought Aguilo did really, really well. And I'm saying probably Aguilo 3 times, 4 times in different ways, because I actually don't know the pronunciation. I believe it's Aguilo. But yeah, he was really good all game. Left back position, all his. Central midfield, I'm going to go with my performance of the weekend. By far, actually, my performance of the weekend was Jobe Bellingham. And it's not a Bellingham brother that you would think would be in this team of the week, but he was fantastic. Absolutely loved watching him. Sunderland were brilliant against Sheffield Wednesday at the weekend. I really like Jobe Bellingham forward, but he's now been dropped back. And what's interesting about that is it's a new manager at Sunderland. It's Lebris. He is a French manager. It's first season at Sunderland. He's dropped Bellingham back further because he thinks that Bellingham is better back further. And there were so many, even if you don't tell me that, you know, the Bellingham brothers are brothers, I would have likened that performance to Bellingham, Jude Bellingham, in midfield. I thought he was brilliant. Broke up play, really calm on the ball. He's a proper midfielder, so playing him forward, I think just is a waste, and it's great to see a manager has pushed him back to a position that will probably nail him on to get a Premier League move in the future. Such a young age, he is already one of the better midfielders, I believe, in that championship. Big game for him this weekend. Come up against the likes of Barry Bannon, some tough tacklers, some quick players, but I think all in all, his physicality is brilliant. He gets forward really well, but he gets back really well. Tough tackling, strong, physical, and he is one of those players who's just silky with the ball, and I absolutely love it. Alongside him, Mateo Kovacic. I've gone Kovacic because against the former club, it's always tough. Spent 5 years at Chelsea. And probably, arguably, Kovacic has always been one of those players where people have been like, yeah, he's no good. He's 5 out of 10. he's a brilliant midfielder, and a brilliant midfielder that probably until he comes into a really great side, you don't notice as much, because at Chelsea, it was hit and miss. You never know whether they're going to win the Champions League or finish 8th. Like, they were one of those teams. Kovacic move to City was a brilliant move from Pep, and he's become one of their main midfielders. Obviously, if Rodri's not there, the best midfielder in his position in the world, Kovacic is such a great fill-in, but often at times he's also playing as well. Brilliant goal from him, all-round great game from City's midfield, and against a Chelsea midfield that was worth, 300 million, whatever it was. He was the pick of the players at a 25 million or 20 million, whatever he cost City. So, yeah, really impressed by Kovacic, and a great goal. Finishing off that midfield, and this is going to be kind of in the opposite vein of what I've just been saying, Romeo Lavia. I actually think he was the best and the pick of the Chelsea players. I don't think Chelsea were awful. I think they were let down by some really good players and also the brilliance of Man City. But Lavia, at 20 years old, he came through at Man City to make a name for himself. He left to go to Southampton, and then a massive move, however much he cost. What was it, 100 million or whatever it was? You can see what a player there is there. And it's one of those, again, where you look at a player like Enzo Fernandez, Moises Caicedo, these super, super expensive players. Are they worth it? I think Lavia may just be. That's the best I've seen him play. I've seen him play at Southampton, but this is where I've really seen him in a top-level game hold his own. I thought he was the pick of the players for Chelsea. Right wing, Rodrigo. I watched the Madrid game, Mbappe's debut in La Liga against Mallorca, and Rodrigo's moment of brilliance is what's got him into this side, because I thought that was magic. If you haven't seen the goal, go and check it out. It's simple, but you can't see how he could bend it in from there, and he does. And it's just one of those moments where you are saying that is why he's going to keep that place. Arda Güler's come in. You've got Brahim Diaz on the bench as well. Endrick's come in. Mbappe's come in. All these forward players. Rodrigo looks like he's the first pick on the team sheet. I love Vinicius Jr., but Rodrigo's brilliant. And that goal was fantastic on the weekend. Absolutely loved it. Left wing. Let's go with Jack Clarke. Sunderland, again, brilliant performance. I thought they were brilliant against Sheffield Wednesday. They absolutely thrashed them, but Jack Clarke toyed with them. Jack Clarke is a Premier League player playing in the Championship. And I think everyone who would have followed this channel last season, you might have seen me talk about him. Left Tottenham at quite a young age, and I think it was always one of those where Jack Clarke's got to build up experience. He's not, big, physical, strong, pacey like the normal wingers. He's got a bit of pace, but he's not like your Sadio Mane's. He's not like your Vinicius Juniors. He's so tricky. He's more like Jack Grealish, but his arrogance on the ball, I love it. I absolutely love it. There was Sheffield Wednesday players like flying into tackles left, right and centre, could not get near him. And Jack Clarke, whether he stays at Sunderland, we'll see. But I think they'll do really well to keep hold of him. And I think if they do keep hold of him, could be looking at a team that could push for promotion. So, yeah, could be important for Sunderland that they keep him. And finishing off my team of the week, striker, Vedat Muriqi. He is Mallorca's striker, and he was a threat all game against Real Madrid. He ran them ragged. And it was a game that probably most people would expect Real Madrid to go and batter them. Absolutely not. They held their own, and Muriqi got the goal from a corner, brilliant header. But all game he was brilliant, and I think it was a game that people again would have suspected they win. But I did look at it before the game and thought, do you know what, Mallorca aren't the team that people think they are. They're not just one of those teams that just get bossed around like you see in the French league. PSG do to some teams, like Bayern do to some teams in the German division. It's not like that in Spain. There is something different about the Spanish league where everyone feels competitive. The Mallorca side were arguably, I think, the best side that night. The atmosphere was brilliant. The crowd was well up for it. So yeah, Vedat Muriqi up front to finish off my team of the week. Right, let's do day one fantasy football.
One day or day one.
Now, a lot of you who listen, you've been looking forward to this. You've got your teams. I've got my team. We created a league. And just to reiterate these rules, day one fantasy football, you pick your team, you leave it. No transfers, no substitutions, no triple captains, no chips. You can't put anything on your players. You just let it go. You pick your team, let it go. It's so easy. But it's brilliant, and it's tense because it will go down, I think, to the last game of the season. A lot of similar teams, but just ever so subtle changes. And look, I went with my team and I was pretty confident. And then by the time I was revealing it to my friend Tom, I was like, I really don't like this team. And even now I'm thinking, I've really made some mistakes here. I'm not happy with it. But we roll with it. The day one teams, a lot of people have joined. I think we got about 70 or 80 people, maybe 80 people in the league, which is cool, which hopefully remains. I have a feeling I'm going to have to kick people out because it's week one. Nobody's getting kicked out yet. But anyone who's making transfers, don't make any transfers, don't make any substitutions, don't triple captain, because I'm going to have to kick you out the league and I don't want to. And there's £100 for the winner. So make sure you don't cost yourself £100. There's a guy at the top at the moment, but there's about 4 or 5 of them all within, there's about 10 of them all within about 1 or 2 points. So it'll be a really interesting league. I'll go through a couple of your teams, which I'm excited to do because anyone who's listening, hopefully you've got your team in there. It's not too late. I think you still can join and you get your points, but I'll put the league link here for you. But yeah, I don't think it's too late, but it's worth joining anyway. You might only miss a week. You can still win £100. Right, let's go with the top of the league. Majid Omar, Joker Smoker. His team currently sits top. Now, this is before the Monday night football game between Tottenham and Leicester. So I will say these are not absolute current by the time you're listening to this, which will be Wednesday. I record on a Monday, but it's worth mentioning some of these teams anyway. Let's have a look at Majid's team. Now, he's gone with David Raya in goal, and I don't mind that. David Raya was, I think, the top top point scoring goalkeeper last season. At least he would have been up there. Loads of clean sheets for Arsenal, and they kicked off with a clean sheet as well. He's got Saliba in defence, Saka. I think the big thing that people who are top of their leagues currently have done is captain Mo Salah. And Mo Salah, how can you leave him out your team? But he actually hasn't got Haaland, Majid, so that'll be interesting. He's got Isak, Watkins, Tony, Ahmad. I like the pick of Ahmad. I mean, I don't know whether he's going to play every single game this season, but I do like that pick because I think it's his time and at only 5 million, it's well worth it. Interesting to see. He's still got Van de Ven to play tonight. Let's have a look at day one, Big Yeti Joe. That is Joe Constance. His team right up there with 72 points. Dallo in defence, great shout. Robertson, Garnacho with an assist who came on. Darwin Núñez. But the big thing, look, he's got Salah, and Salah is it will be the big difference this week. He's captained Saka this year. Saka is a great captain choice, always gets you about 200 points. So does Salah. He's also another person who's gone without Haaland. So I think we're seeing a theme here that if you haven't picked Haaland this week, you seem to be doing really well. Let's find someone else a little bit down the line. Let's go with Leo Howitt, Leo 11. You've got 69 points. Trent, Saliba, Gvardiol and Pedro Porro. That is a really strong defence for fantasy football. It's a really expensive defence. So you've had to find a way of finding that money, and it is to have no Haaland. All these people at the top, no Haaland. Let's go down the list. Let's go a little bit lower and try and find some people that we know. Let's find Liam's day one. Liam Edgar, 63 points. Now, Liam always comments on our stuff, so hopefully he's listening. Captain is Mo Salah once again, no Haaland. Let's find someone who's up there with a Haaland team because that is ridiculous. If this is the top 20, let's keep going. Right, let's go and find Jody Finucane, 58 points. We have a Haaland, right? This is the only person I can find in the top 20 or 30 people who've got Haaland. They've also got Eze. Really unlucky with Eze this weekend. 7 million pick this year. A banging pick because you know he's got penalties. He's got set pieces. He scored a set piece and it was taken off him. Lissandro Martinez at the back. I think a really shrewd decision there. 4.5 million. He got a clean sheet to start the weekend. And Alexander Isak was her captain. Well done, Jody. That's not too bad. And then let's find someone that hopefully you guys are familiar with. We'll go and find Mr. Vince Norris, host of This Is United, part of Goalpost TV. Let's have a look at his team. He had Mazraoui at the back. What a shout. Called Mazraoui to start the season. Brilliant. Joachim Andersen, no points, but a captain of Haaland. So Here we see a Haaland captain again. Saka, vice captain. Saka's got him loads of points, but a really strong midfield with Cole Palmer. He's also got Solanke to play tonight and Emil Smith-Rowe. Smith-Rowe was one of those players I think a lot of people thought, do you know what, coming in, he's got the pedigree of Arsenal. There was a season gone by where he scored 10 goals for Arsenal in the Premier League. So can he pick up that sort of form? Can he get maybe 5 or 10 goals in the Premier League for Fulham? And if he does, at 5.5 million, it's a great pick. He's gone with 4 at the back. It's interesting to see some people's formations. I will get into my team, and I think it's only fair that we do because we can rip my team apart. I was really confident, like I said, going into it, and then the longer it's gone on, and as soon as I ended up revealing it, not so confident. Right, Dean Henderson was my goalkeeper. I'm on 53 points. Like, I'm midway in the league. It's not disastrous. It's not embarrassing, but it's not great. Captain Haaland, I've gone with Saka. I've also gone with 3 United midfielders, and that is crazy, I know. But Garnacho at 6.5, Bruno Fernandes at 8.5, and Rashford at 7. I'm hoping Rashford rediscovers that sort of 17-18 form where he was getting 200 points and scoring 15, 16, 17 goals. I don't know. I mean, the biggest risk in this team was my defence. I went with Leith Davis of Ipswich, who, just so you are aware, got double figures for assists last season from fullback in the Championship. I know it's the Championship, but 18 assists and 14 assists, that's not to be sniffed at. And at 4.5 million, I don't think Ipswich are the kind of bully boys that they think they can just roll over. But I do think it's going to be tough for them. But I don't think they're going to sort of get beat 5 and 6-0 every week, like I think a lot of people think. Loads of people captaining Haaland in their normal teams next week because he's playing Ipswich. I don't know. I think Ipswich have got a lot to them. I think they've got a great manager. I know I spoke about it a couple of weeks ago. But I think Leif Davis, you never know, a couple of clean sheets, but hopefully 5 or 10 assists would be nice. Rico Lewis was brilliant, by the way, this weekend. One of the pickouts for me. He's unlucky not to get into my team of the week. But at Wembley a couple of weeks ago, I was watching Rico Lewis, and he was one of those players that did stand out for me on the day. I thought he was fantastic. The way he gets forward and back, he's super disciplined in his defensive work, but brilliant in terms of breaking out and getting forward and overlapping, whether it's the winger, whether it's Haaland, and trying to get the ball across. He's a very, very big attacking threat for Man City. I hope that Kyle Walker doesn't come back in for this team, because I think Rico Lewis could, if you give him the chance, he could help this City team in a number of ways that I think Kyle Walker maybe doesn't do in terms of his forward position. He did show against Chelsea with that brilliant block right at the back post, and that was one of those moments where you think Kyle Walker could get back, but Rico Lewis was there. He's still young, but he can get forward as well. Brilliant on the ball, press resistant, and I love a press resistant defender. He's fantastic, Rico Lewis, and I actually think he can play in midfield if he wanted to as well. I know Pep's tried him out there, but I think he's got that in his locker. Right back is probably his best position, but I think, yeah, I don't mind that pick. It cost me 4.5 million, and I captained Haaland. I've got Ben Johnson. I'm gutted with Ben Johnson, actually. I'm really disappointed with that pick. 4 million, but of the 4 million defenders, could have gone with Wout Faes, could have gone with Twanzebe, who obviously started the game against Liverpool. Ben Johnson's minutes, I'm not sure about now. I've got Van de Ven to play, and we'll see. But I don't know. This team pretty much banks on Haaland and Manchester United actually having an okay season. Right, so everyone who knows my day one team knows that I have a kind of competition, a head-to-head with one of my friends. The reason why this started was because me and one of my friends, Tom, we said, right, we're going to put a load of money on it, and we're not going to be allowed to touch our team all season. And it became a thing. It ended up coming down to the final day so many times, and it would be like a couple of points in it. A couple of times he's won by literally 2 or 3 points. So we have this really, really horrible neck and neck, head-to-head battle every season. Tom's team, I'll go through with you, and I'm just going to say to everyone who's picked their teams and are in this league, you are an absolute scumbag if you've done this, and I'm pretty sure most people have. But if you found a way to put Haaland and Salah in, you are just cheating at this point. It's got to be one or the other. How can you get away with 2? Like, I'm looking at his team. He's got Gvardiol, fair enough, he spent 6 million, but he's gone with Fabio Carvalho. He's got João Pedro, and they're both like 5.5 million players, and he's gone for them as like kind of his starting players because he's tried to work in Salah and Haaland. And that is scumbag behaviour. If you're going to win this league, win it properly and with proper ethics. I don't know. I'm just bitter because I should have done the same, if I'm honest. But he's gone with Ollie Watkins. Christopher Nkunku. Not sure about Nkunku. 6.5 million, a great pick for most people coming into the season. But don't know if he'll find his form. I love him. I actually think he's brilliant, and hopefully he does. It's just whether this injury is maybe knocked him off course a little bit. I don't know. Right, and I did say, and I did prefix that whole thing with the fact that we are still one game to go. It is the Monday Night Football about to start as I'm recording. I don't know the lineups yet, but it will be interesting to see who plays. I think Pedro Porro is nailed down. Loads of people have got him. Kulusevski's in my normal team and I fancied him, but I think a lot of people have gone with Dom Solanke this season, so that'll be interesting. I do want to say about Solanke, look, I don't know whether it is a good signing or not a good signing. You never know until probably about 10 games in, but from what I've seen from Dom Solanke's numbers and his statistics, what he puts up is absolutely spot on for what Ange wants. I've seen a lot of people talk about it like it's going to be a dud signing like all Tottenham players normally are. Well, I don't actually believe that because Tottenham have made some brilliant signings in the past, and I'll get on to one in a second. But Dom Solanke, from his pressing point of view, from his turnover point of view, resulting in shots at goal, he's highest in the league last season. His goals, non-penalty goals, was right up there with Haaland, Watkins. And I do think it was time for him to come back to a big club. Last season was massive for him. I think the season before you could start seeing there were signs that he was the player that Liverpool thought they were getting, the player that Chelsea thought they were producing. It'll be interesting to see how he goes this season with the chances that Tottenham create, and they create a hell of a lot of chances. Plenty of crosses. He's not the sort of striker that's going to score you a goal from 30 yards. He's the sort of striker that is going to be the right place, right time. He's in the box. And if he plays like he did last season, he's a clinical finisher. He's not going to be on penalties, I don't think. I think that still will be with Son. But if he does get penalties, what a signing and what a pick that could be at 7.5 million if you do fantasy. That is magic. I also want to say about Archie Gray. I think that's a great signing as well for Tottenham. We'll see if he plays and starts this game. The person that I want to mention, the person I want to talk about above anyone else, this is a Heung-min Son appreciation post. I will say to you, what I think is probably the greatest... I think the greatest signing, I think probably Salah, maybe. But in terms of a winger, I can't remember a signing. Obviously, you've got Ronaldo. But other than Salah, just being purely surprised by the ability that he's got, the level that you think he's got when you watch him. I watched him a few times when he was in the German league. In the same way I'd watched Salah when he was at Fiorentina. And you think, oh, that's a good player. I don't know how high his ceiling is, but it's certainly not what I expected from Son and what it was from Salah. I think Son is the most under the radar best signing there's ever been in the Premier League. I think that him and Salah would be pretty close. But Son, just to give you some context as well, he's gone 8 seasons in a row, double figures for goals in the Premier League. That is unbelievable from a left winger. He's got 120 goals and 62 assists in the Premier League since he's been there. He's 22nd all-time highest goal scorer. And like I said, a left wing position. That is outrageous from him. And obviously a long time at Tottenham, not on those set pieces like penalties that Harry Kane was taking. So how many more goals could he have got? I think he's been brilliant. His goals and assists are fantastic. His numbers are unbelievable. But I think almost above all, he seems like an all-round great person, like a great guy. Everyone loves Son, and even rival fans love him. But I don't know whether we give him the appreciation in terms of his ability that he probably deserves. He's the most two-footed forward I think I can see in world football currently. You know, he's obviously Ronaldo scored a lot of goals with his left and right foot. Son has that ability to score a goal from 30 yards out and crash it into the top corner, or he'll dribble past you from his own half and score a goal with either his left foot or right foot. He's a very clinical finisher, and Son Heung-min, I think, without him, 31 years old, 32 I think it is this season, and people were writing him off. People were saying last season, I remember even Gary Neville said it, maybe this is the end for Son. People need to stop looking at the age of 30 as a decline like they used to. I think a lot of players previously would have been ruled out, you reach 30, and it was this, I think it was probably Sir Alex who maybe spoke about this first, in terms of a player reaching 30 and then maybe not wanting to sign them. 30 years old is absolute physical peak, your prime, your 29, 28, 30. And I think a lot of footballers, particularly strikers these days, seem to refine their game when they hit that age. They'll have the physicality still, and that might be going like that, but mentally, and football is all done in the brain. If you know your game inside out at that point, which you probably do at 30 years old, that's where you're going to see the best of you. I think Harry Kane scoring that many goals last season, his best ever goal scoring season, that's no surprise. Even though he's 31, 32, 33, you're going towards that age. It's no surprise to me that, you've got an end product, which is Harry Kane, a master of every finish. And a lot of people said that, he wasn't great in the Euros, and I'd argue probably the same as well. But last season, you can't write that off. What he did for Bayern Munich, despite them not winning a trophy, was unbelievable. I think he'll go again this season. I think he'll be absolutely fine. I do think Bayern will win a trophy with him as well. But yeah, I think just enough of the whole thing where you hit 30 and it's a decline. Maybe 34. Yeah, that might be where it is. I think science, technology, sports science is progressing enough to the point where we are looking at players who can go to sort of 38, 39 and still look like they can achieve something at the highest level. Even Jamie Vardy, I think 37, coming back to the Premier League, 18 goals for him last season. And obviously Zlatan, Ronaldo, these players who can, who have still done it up until 40. Ryan Giggs, 40. I think the longer we go on, the more we're going to see that, and we're going to see that a lot more with the likes of Lewandowski. By the way, Lewandowski, 35, is he? And he's just gone again, scored twice on the weekend opening fixture for Barcelona. So I think we've got to reevaluate what we judge. And also, by the way, this is such a FIFA thing. When you see an old player and they start to lose pace and their card on FIFA loses pace and you think, oh, they're over, that infiltrates you when you're watching them, and it actually sets a bias, which actually isn't true. So yeah, I'm campaigning for all my 30-plus-year-old players. And do you know what? I think I'll be proved right at the end of the season, because I think Son last season, when they were talking about it, he went again and scored, a really high volume of goals, despite him having to play a brand new position at an older age. And I think, Son will do it again this season as well. 32 he is. Right, last week, just to finish off, I did a weekend treble. As people who are regular listeners know, I do a weekend treble every week. I pick some selections. That's 3 selections that I think is going to win you some money. Right at the start of the show, I said Goalpost TV are paying you to listen, and that is the truth. Last week, if you were listening and you stayed right to the end of the show, you would have seen my weekend treble come up, and that weekend treble came in. We finished on a profit last season, but it was very tight. I think this season, this is a good start. I really fancy us this season, and we're already up. If you'd have put £10 on, you get £33 back. This week, I've gone a little bit safer, but not overly safe. My first selection is Man United double chance. That is against Brighton, so that's just Man United to win or draw. I've gone Burnley double chance. That's against Sunderland. That is the double chance as well. And I've also gone for Huddersfield to beat Shrewsbury at home. That is £10 on, £26.59. Back it. Be sensible. Be cautious. Don't go crazy. Tenner here and there is absolutely fine. But just so we're clear, if you made my bets a thing last season and you were making those bets, you would have finished in a profit. And I think you're going to do it this season as well. So we are paying you to listen, guys. If you haven't already sent this to a friend, send it to a friend. Tell them, hey, dude, there's free money over here. Alex, this guy, he's got massive eyes and he tells us what the future is. And that's what I've been doing. By the way, Man United double chance is the only thing that I'm actually a little bit nervous about next week away at Brighton, but I do think they'll get there. Burnley look like the best team in the Championship by a mile already. They are so impressive. I think they'll go and beat Sunderland as well. But even so, if they get a draw, I think it's all right. And then Huddersfield, I think Huddersfield miles better than the rest of that. The rest of those teams in League One, Shrewsbury, look like they're struggling. I think Huddersfield will be right up there with Birmingham and the rest of them. Right, guys, that is it from me. Thank you for joining me. I am back next week, next Wednesday, and every Wednesday for the rest of the season. If you haven't subscribed, hit subscribe, hit like, and it's really cool if you do. Thank you. Have a great week. Goodbye.